All right, hi guys, this is Leo from Codes and Posters, and today I'm going to talk about the code. It takes 10,000 hours of practice to make you an expert of anything. This one is from Malcolm Gladwell. So here you go. I hope you enjoy. So, it takes 10,000 hours of practice to make you an expert of anything. What does this quote really means? Sorry, I'm setting the timer here. So, I think that this was like a study that was created, and it was like revealed that it's a very interesting theory actually, that is they found that these very high skilled people, either like musicians or athletes, they found out that these people who are very excellent at what they do in life, they are very excellent because they practiced this thing that they do for 10,000 hours, right? And then you think, wow, 10,000 hours, that's a long time, isn't it? Yeah, it is a long time, but it's totally doable in a lifetime if you really want to, if you think about it. I think it's, I don't know how many years, I forgot actually to count the number of years that it is, but it's a really long time, so you gotta be really passionate if you want to pursue that. But I think what happens is that these people, they just become really good at what they do because they are very passionate about what they're doing. So you gotta be really passionate, you gotta really like love, and you gotta really breathe this thing that you want to accomplish in your life, right? Because otherwise you're not gonna be able to continue on your journey, right? Because you gotta put yourself, if you want to accomplish something great, you gotta put yourself into this mode where you have actually time to practice, and you need big blocks of time every day to go on and practice this thing that you're doing, right? So for example, me, in my case, I'm a designer, right? And I don't consider myself the best designer in the world. I think there are there's so many great designers out there, which I look at the world and I think, wow, they're so advanced in the way they think and in how they design stuff. Everything's so great, so beautiful. But I have like accumulated a certain amount of hours. I'm not sure I accumulated. Yeah, probably I did accumulate this 10,000 hours. But the thing with me is that in this profession that I have as a designer, because I mostly design digital products, right? The thing keeps changing so fast. The technology keeps changing, and the tools, they keep changing, that I'm not sure this actually applies to me. Right, but it certainly applies, I think, to this poster project that I'm doing, because if I spend 10,000 hours designing posters, or if I spend 10,000 hours talking now to you in front of the camera on YouTube, I think that would make me a great talker, great philosopher. Or and same here, if I spend this amount of hours designing posters, I would probably, because I spent like 2 hours doing a poster like this, so imagine I would have 5,000 posters. Imagine I designed 5,000 posters. Imagine the level, the quality of these posters in the long term. Like imagine like when I'm doing like 4,000 posters, imagine like how great, how beautiful, how unique, and they're gonna look, right? They're gonna look like extremely unique, and that's something really interesting, because you're gonna be able to actually see my passion on the posters, right? You're gonna be able to see my technique, which would be great by them, right? Because now my technique is really basic to design this stuff, but there, after all this time there, if I really practice the stuff, you're gonna see much greater technique and much more. You're gonna feel the passion, right? So, man, basically, is for you to put yourself into this situation where you know what I honestly think. I think that the people who really love what they do, they don't really see the time passing, right? They're sitting there and they're doing, like, for example, have you seen these illustrators and these artists, how they work? They work very passionately, you know. They put a lot of passion in what they do, but they don't. They do it naturally, right? I think for you to actually be able to do this 10,000 hours, you have to really love it. It has to be something natural to you. And thing is, for many people, what happens to a lot of people, and I think including me, I think what happens is that they eventually lose the passion, because they have this pressure to achieve greatness, because society puts this pressure, right? Society creates this kind of fake notion that life is a ranking, and you see, and you see that through society. You see rankings all the time, and you always want to be the best, and there are all these idiots creating awards everywhere you see an award for something, right? Because you got to be able to win awards, because you got to be able to do a great work, and you got to be able to be the best, so you can prove, and then you can advance the industry, right? Which is great in some points. It makes sense, right? Because you want to, otherwise everything would be bad. But also, thinking also about this, it kind of debilitates the idea and the practice of a subject, because if you create these rankings and these awards, like, you're kind of coming with criterias, right? And when you talk about something that is art, which is completely subjective, how can you make an award, and how can you make a ranking out of these things? You can't, right? Because it's always going to be subjective, and then there's always be people saying what is good and what is not, and then that's something like really interesting to think about, because in art, I think in sports you have you can measure in sports, in sales, this kind of activities. You can really measure how good someone is. But in art, you can't, because art is something very subjective. So society creates this notion for us that, for example, designers, oh, you have to be the greatest designer. But what is the greatest designer? Isn't this something completely subjective? I mean, who creates these categories, and who creates these differentiations and these standards, right? That's something very debatable, you know, because it's a matter of taste. But you can also say that great design brings results, but results are also very subjective when it comes to design and communication, because you don't know if you're really selling a product, you're selling something because the product is good, or if you're selling something because the design or the advertising is good. You never know. It's a combination of things, because nobody wants to buy shit, right? People buy stuff that they consider good, that they think is a good product, regardless of the design, of the graphic designer or whatever, the design of the product. And that's something also very debatable in my area of field, which is like UX. Because yes, you can have a UX that is great, but if you have a great UX for a bad product, it's not going to work. People are not going to use. And sometimes we get too much stuck on that, right? We think it's the fault of the designer, which sometimes is not. Sometimes it's not the problem. It's not a designer problem. It's a product problem, right? But anyway, coming back to this topic here, how do you achieve greatness at something? There's no way. You have to practice. Nobody who achieved greatness on anything didn't practice, didn't live this thing. You have to live this thing, and you have to love this thing. And I think to love this thing, you have to try. You have to experiment, because life is fun. Life can be fun if you make your life an experiment. And if you're not so rigid about yourself and don't fall into these traps that society puts, that you have to excel and you have to choose a path, and then maybe you're gonna be stuck in your life in doing something that you don't like to do, right? Doing something that you're not so passionate anymore, and then without passion, there's nothing you can do. So you gotta take it easy. Don't, do these things. Pursue excellence. Pursue what you love. But also don't fool yourself. Don't trick yourself, because maybe you don't love this thing that much, right? And I think this is what really happens, I think, to most people. I think what really happens is that they like what they do, they enjoy what they do, but they don't love it like extremely, it's like something that they can't live without, or it's something that they are like dying, or they wake up thinking about it, right? And I think most people, including myself, they operate like this. They have peaks, like I can tell you, for example, in my case, I have peaks where I'm really motivated about something, and then after some time I just lose it, and then something happens, then I come again, and then I just go and lose it, and then it goes like this in my case, right? I gotta be excited about what I'm doing. So, and sometimes it's a little bit forced, it's a little bit forced. And I think for most of the people, it's a little bit forced. Like they just have to do this thing that because at some point, if you're doing something great and the world recognize that you're doing something great, then the world will want you to keep doing, right? People will ask you to keep doing these things, and then you gotta really be confident that you really love doing these things, that it's something that you really want to do, and something that you really want to pursue, and you can't operate with this kind of pressure, that you have to perform, that you have to get away from these things, get away from the pressure, get away from these results, which is maybe not the best advice, but you gotta balance, you gotta really be able to do your best, put your love into something, right? And not feel the pressure about the results. And I don't know, and I think maybe if you really love something, I think if you really love doing something, the love will be there, will show at what you're doing. And it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be really fucking hard. There's gonna be a lot of obstacles, because basically there's a lot of people doing stuff that they love, and I think what separates ones from the others, the mediocre from the great, I think is the extra mile that the great people push. And the extra mile comes with love, and I think it comes with motivation, with confidence. It comes if they are in the right environment. Because that's the thing, it's a lot of these quotes also is about motivation, it's about getting motivated. Because you're gonna reach a plateau, when you start doing something and you get, like for example in this project, I reached so many times plateaus where I was doing something for a while, and then I suddenly reach like a plateau, that sometimes in my mind my creativity is dying, and I can't do anything about it. Sometimes it works this way, and I'm lost, and then I just have to refresh myself, with new things, and it's really hard to keep yourself. It can be really hard to keep yourself motivated in the long run when you don't have any support, or you don't have anybody buying your posters or anybody watching your movies. It can get extremely frustrating, I would say. And the only thing that really you're able to actually make you keep doing is the love that you have for the thing, because sometimes people will really, most of the times they will not give a shit about what you do, and even they're gonna put nasty comments, and they're gonna really not care. And you just gotta believe in yourself, and most of all, you gotta feel pleasure. You gotta really feel the pleasure in doing this. It gotta be fun. You gotta be nice. You gotta be something great, something that you're looking forward to. It gotta be something that you're passionate. And passion is hard to maintain. For me, at least. I don't know about other people. Some people, they they keep their fire lit, and it's crazy, right? Because they really keep the passion. For many years, they keep doing something time after time. Like you see some artists, like bands, you see these bands playing record over like releasing new stuff, and every time they release something, you can still feel the passion. You feel that they're doing this because they love, not because of money, not because of anything else. You feel the passion there. I think passion is the most important thing in life. And to actually, if you really want to achieve greatness, if you want to be an expert on anything, you need this passion, and you need to put yourself in ways, you need to make your infrastructure in a way that this passion and this fire, this passion, like keeps there. Because people are gonna come to you and they're gonna try to kill your passion. And that's the most crazy thing, right? There's a big paradox in life, that when you're dealing with people, because you're gonna have to deal with people anyway, right? You're not gonna be able to achieve greatness all alone. You're gonna need people to promote your art or to do partnerships with you, right? And these people are gonna be, they're gonna need to be there to support you, not to fight against you, And it's very hard because most people that you're gonna deal with, they're selfish. They don't care about you. They don't care about your passion, even though your passion depends entirely of the success, right? But some people, they really don't think like this, And this is really, really hard. You're gonna meet with people, and you're gonna need relationships with people that are able to understand you, and that are able to respect you, and that you feel that there is a mutual respect, that you also respect them, and vice versa. And then you got a relationship that allows for your success. So basically, I'm talking about infrastructure here. I'm talking about infrastructure of success on anything, so you can achieve your dreams, right? So you gotta create this infrastructure where you can have your passion, and you can, most importantly, not have it momentarily, but keep your passion, keep your fire light, your fire on, right? Which is something really hard. That's why most people, they fail, because they start great, but they eventually lose their passion. And the reason they lose their passion is because of external factors. And so also you gotta understand this, that even with external factors, because I think 95% of times the external factors are not gonna help you, and you have to find, and you have to keep that passion yourself. And this is, I think, where most people, including me, fail. They lose their passion, they lose their motivation, and this is the moment where you shouldn't give up. You should understand that sometimes that's how life is. Sometimes that's normal. That's part of the package of life, to actually lose your motivation. But you have to think about the big picture. Think about the big picture. Think about this thing that you really love doing and that you want to pursue doing, right? And think about that you can still keep doing this, and the world keeps revolving, and the world keeps changing, but you and your talent is there, so you can adapt to the world. Because sometimes you see something like this also. Many bands, like talking about music now, bands, when the music industry changed and they were not selling records, and then everything became streaming and everything, many bands, they just couldn't, they didn't want to continue because it was not giving them the money. So they were there for the wrong reasons. They were just doing this for the money. And you see bands that survived from the vinyl era to the streaming era, and they still keep doing music because that's what they love, right? And you gotta be able to do what you love and reach and pass this phase of needing money, right? And that's the most beautiful thing, when you actually don't need money anymore, when the money thing is covered, and then you can just do what you love. Because I think when you reach this phase and you really do what you love, it's going to reflect on what you're doing, and people are going to notice, right? I think that's the thing. It's a really weird combination. It's a really difficult equation, and you see many people failing, right? You see like 99% of people failing because they're not able to actually achieve this equation, right? There's always some kind of dysfunction, some kind of imbalance in this equation that makes them lose their passion, right? So, and that's why that's why it's extremely hard for you to reach there, for you to be able to reach this 10,000 hours. You gotta be really special. Right, so think about all these things that I say. I'm pretty sure I missed many other things, but it would be great if you could comment in this video, comment down below, and I would definitely reply, and we would definitely have a discussion on that, because it's very interesting for me, to understand these things and to actually share and create a discussion with you. That's what I want. The reason I'm doing this project mostly is because I don't have any friends, and it would be great to have a community of people which I can discuss these things with, right? So here you go. Takes 10,000 hours of practice to make you an expert of anything. This one is by Malcolm Gladwell, so be fucking patient. Thank you very much, and see you again.